Do you live ECU? Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in, Hoist the Colors, Monday, February 16th. Hope everybody had a great opening weekend of college baseball. Pirates, not so much on the field. They lose the first two to Xavier and then bounce back win the finale. We'll get into that, share our thoughts, and more across the next hour. As always, our comments are open on YouTube, Facebook, and X. If you've got anything to say, add, coming out of the weekend, drop it in the chat. We'll get to it. Today's show, excited about it. In our next segment, around 12:15 Eastern Time, Cliff Godwin, head coach, will join us. He'll share his thoughts on opening weekend and much more. We'll go over some of the injuries for the Pirates earlier this season, try to get a starter for Tuesday's game, 5-game week ahead already, so quick turnaround for ECU. A lot of baseball to be played in a short amount of time and more. So that's coming your way around 12:15 with Coach Godwin. He'll join us most Mondays throughout the season, so I appreciate his time for that. ECU basketball, men and women picking up road wins on the same day. That's a rarity. Just we know how hard it is to win on the road in hoops. Certainly for ECU, it's been a struggle for the men this season. They win at Rice. We'll tell you what that means as well. And we've got Philip Pilkington back in the 94.3 The Game studios. He covered Friday's baseball action before producing some of the action on Saturday. Also, intern Isaiah hanging out. He was in the box for all 18 innings on Saturday. So it was a long weekend, and we are officially 100% in crossover season, Philip, because you had softball going on, you had baseball going on, there were stat broadcast issues going on, not only at ECU, but across the country. We had some issues with the radio, going to not only to you guys' feed, but also to the stadium feed. So it was a whirlwind of a weekend, but we made it through, and we have some baseball to talk about.
Yeah, there was lacrosse going on as well. So
yes,
it is just full on. I feel really bad for the ops and the grounds crew and the marketing department. I know they're stretched a little thin over there. So, man, it was a fun weekend, and, a lot to get into about all that stuff because, women's basketball, it wasn't pretty, but good teams win ugly games. And baseball, obviously, we're going to dive into that. Men's basketball right there still standing a chance to make the conference tournament. So, and I don't remember what other sports said. Softball, yeah. Poor Malcolm supposedly was having to stat softball by hand, from what I understand, and go in and put it in later. Like you said, stat broadcast issues all around the country. So don't blame the same thing. I know people were saying some stuff about the video board being messed up at East Carolina on Saturday. This was an issue. This was a tech issue. This was not a personnel issue. East Carolina's got great people in those things. They know what they're doing. The computer that is supposed to feed the stats over was having a delay, and it was causing the video board to be messed up. This is a blame the tech geeks that don't even work for us, blame the tech geeks at Stat Broadcast, and that's the reason that we had video board issues on Saturday.
Yeah, then there was so many home events. The staff was stretched a little thin, as Philip mentioned, and kudos to everybody for their hard work behind the scenes. There is a lot that goes into it. People running around behind the scenes working hard to fix that stuff. So I think it'll get better too as more home games come for ECU, and hopefully the Pirate baseball team gets a little better as well. We'll hear from Cliff Godwin again in our next segment, but it was a tough opening weekend. We all knew Xavier would come in and provide a challenge. And first off, kudos to them. I thought they had a clear approach from the first pitch of the game on Friday with a ball hit to the warning track against Ethan Norby. They came out, we said it, they weren't going to be scared with the schedule they play. They weren't. I still think while Xavier is a very good team, in my opinion, has a chance to be even better once they get some of their star players back, this was more about ECU the first two games beating itself than Xavier. And again, credit them for taking advantage. That's what good teams do. ECU beat itself. 4 errors in game 2, originally 2, but that was changed to 4, as Cliff Godwin will explain why, a little bit later. You had, 2 or 3 errors in game 1. Obviously, Colby Wallace playing shortstop. It just did not work out. We'll get into that with CG as well. But end of the day, too many guys left on base, Too many errors in those first two games. Just not Pirate baseball, Phillip. And I'm not going to overreact. It's baseball. It's a short sample size, but there were certainly causes for concern right out of the gate.
Game one to me was one of those things you hadn't played a baseball game in 9 months, and it showed. Everybody had some rust. We can sit here and go through every team in the country that had a rusty play, and there's a lot. And in big-time programs, right? It's not just ECU. And then game two, look, and on top of that, like, Ethan didn't have his stuff. Did he pitch bad? No, but it came down to he is an ace, which means in 14 starts this year, he's going to probably have his stuff in 11 of them. All right, one out of those 3 or one out of those 4 that you don't have, he doesn't have his stuff, is now behind us. But he still put us in position to win. Like I said, game two was sloppy. Look, at the end of the day, you kind of expect to split a doubleheader anyways. It's a little more frustrating that you feel like you gave that game away from being sloppy. But, if you told me we were going to come out of the weekend 2-1, I would have said, hey, cool. 1-2, a little frustrating. But again, when your ace doesn't have his stuff, and really the relievers that came in didn't pitch bad, but again, just didn't have their stuff despite pitching okay. Just didn't have some of the spin rate that they want on the baseball. Like, it was just one of those days, and then you split a doubleheader. So it's not time to hit the panic button. You got 2 very winnable midweeks. You come out of this thing 3-2. You feel fine, but you gotta go win at Campbell, which it seems like I don't know, man. It's like beating the 1980 Russian hockey team to win at Campbell when you're ECU for some reason.
Cameron in the chat says the fact we have not beaten Campbell on the road since 2022 is insane. We need to beat them tomorrow. Lane Smith says we can't hit. Joel says insane moment Saturday, turning off an ECU baseball game to watch ECU basketball instead. And also Cameron adding, I really didn't think the pitching was that bad for us. The lack of quality at bats was troubling, especially since it was an issue last year too. Ryan adding, wondering how much of the at-bats are adjusting to Jake Gautreau's style or guys just pressing because it was opening weekend. I really think, here's one thing that stands out to me. All right, ECU on the weekend, 10 walks, 10 hit-by pitches. That's 20 plate appearances reaching first base via a free pass against 16 strikeouts. All right, so you reach base more times via the free pass than you struck out. There was only one inning out of the whole weekend where I thought ECU looked overmatched at the plate. That was they had the lefty reliever, I think, in game 1 of Saturday's doubleheader that struck out the side. And I'm like, all right, that's the first time this weekend I felt like ECU just looked like it didn't have a clue what it was doing at the plate. The rest of the games, they were just, I think, they were pressing because it was opening weekend. Like Phillip said, Norby did not perform to his capabilities. And so, like, you're kind of, how you envision things going didn't happen right out of the gate. And then you find yourself down, you're pressing. And then I thought they were kind of caught in between the rest of the weekend. It was like, we talked about Xavier's initial starter. He had command issues. I think they came out wanting him to prove he could throw strikes. He did. And then it's like they were on their heels for the next 2 games, or for the next game and a half, I should say, and just didn't look comfortable. But, I didn't see many aggressive swings, and I didn't see many swings either where they were just like completely swinging and missing and looking baffled. It was just like they were caught in between on exactly what their approach needed to be. And I don't know how much of that is Gautreau, Cliff. I did notice watching it, Gautreau was running the hitter meetings in between pitching changes, and Cliff would also have input as well. So, look, it's not a surprise. You got two of the best hitting coaches in America now on the same staff. There's going to be a little bit of a transition. And it's also early in the season. Pitching is typically ahead of hitting. Finding the barrel consistently is, it's an art form. Hitting is an art form in many ways, and it's going to take some time for these guys to find rhythm. We can talk about the defensive stuff too, because I think that's a little bit more pressing of a concern for me. But I just felt like overall, it's not like they were ever overmatched at the plate. And if they were against Xavier, that would concern me because we know what's coming to North Carolina. But it's like, I just think they need to sell out to one approach or the other a little more consistently, Phillip, and I think some results will show. It's just going to take some time maybe to find out their offensive identity a bit.
They do need to sell out to one approach. You're right. The other thing, though, that I think we kind of forget sometimes is you've been seeing the exact same pitchers for however long now. really since August. And then all of a sudden you see another guy. It's a little weird. You're used to seeing the same 10, 12 guys every single day. It's the same thing that happens at the end where of camp for football where the defense always looks better than the offense because they've seen the same damn plays. They know what's coming. And so same thing here. The hitters have seen the pitchers and we're probably tattooing them those last couple weeks. And now they get here and, we're finally seeing different guys. So it makes it tough. But yeah, you got to stick to one approach. The one thing I do want to say that kind of stuck with me on the hitting side in one specific moment was game 1 Friday night. Yes, I understand Pirate baseball, small ball, but a kid's first college AB and Grady Linehan, first and second, nobody out. There's already a lot of pressure. If that's your first college AB. You add that much more pressure by having him bunt, and he pops it up. And it kind of felt like that portrayed the hitting for the rest of Friday. When guys would get on base, it just seemed like, I don't know, there was something about it. It didn't feel like coming into that AB, and it felt like some of the wind kind of got took out of the sails. And I understand that's the way we play, and I understand you're not losing a national championship or winning a national championship Friday, the first game. But I would have loved to have seen Grady Linehan, who really is a good hitter and proved it throughout the weekend, that he could swing away right there. I think he hits an RBI single or even just hits a long fly ball to the warning track. We might be having a little bit different feeling about Friday.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. That was a huge moment early in the game. And like you said, first at bat. Now, same situation came up Saturday, and he bunted, got it down, and then the pitcher threw it away. So, like, you see the speed and you see the idea. But I do think first at bat, and it's always easy to hindsight's 2020 with these deals. But if that plays out differently, how much differently does that game play out? Because I think the opposite happens with the pressure mounting and the anxiety. Like you could feel it in the stadium when ECU gets down at home in these games where they're expected to win. You can just feel the fans starting to get angst. The team starts to press, and it just has that reverse feeling, so to speak.
They do, and I know you're right. Hindsight's 2020. But the second whoever it was that got on, Wags looked at me and goes, man, they're going to bunt Grady Linehan as first AB. If it's not enough pressure, first time you've ever seen D1 pitching, now you got to lay down the perfect bunt. I don't know about this. And sure enough, it's a
fair take. I was mentioning earlier the walk to strikeout ratio for ECU's hitters, and I thought ECU on the mound looked great. You look at this, 27 strikeouts against 9 walks. And 3 hit by pitches. So that's 27 strikeouts against 12 walks. Like these numbers are sustainable to me. And some of this was Xavier. They had an aggressive approach, which led to some strikeouts as well. But ECU on the mound, they have stuff this year. Van Kempen looked tremendous through his 4 innings of work. Shouldn't have given up an earned run. And due to the scoring changes, he did not with the defense behind him. Colby Weber, to be 6'7", 200 and not really to have much muscle on his body, already be throwing 96 miles per hour. He's going to be throwing 98 to 100 by the time he's done at ECU if he stays with the Pirates once he puts some muscle on. We know Norby is going to be good. Sean Jenkins looked phenomenal. Brad Antolik's going to throw tomorrow. Like, that's 5 draft picks, arguably, that are going to anchor your rotation. And then there's a lot after that, too. So, I am still extremely bullish about ECU on the mound. They just have to, again, settle in, figure out roles. But, I'm not giving up hope on ECU after one poor weekend.
No, I thought the mound, honestly, I think there was guys that are good pitchers that just didn't have their stuff, but overall they still looked fine. It just they didn't have as much movement as they wanted. And before the show, Isaiah brought up a really good point about Colby Weber. This kid's pitching his first college baseball game. He lets up a nuke. What did he do to the next batter? Did he walk him? No. He came back aggressive. And look, you don't worry about your junior ace starter going out there and how he's going to respond after he lets up a nuke. You worry about we're down 0-2 in the series, freshman never pitched in a college baseball game before, lets up a moonshot. You worry. And to Isaiah's point, there was nothing to be worried about because he came right at the next hitter. It shows the maturity of that young man.
No doubt. Really impressive debut for Colby Weber. He goes 5 innings, gets his first collegiate win, 6 Ks, 1 walk, just 3 hits allowed. And 2 runs, one of those coming on that 1 home run, which was absolutely crushed, by the way. I think that thing is still going. But again, ECU loses 2 out of 3. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll hear from the head man himself, Cliff Godwin. He'll join us most Mondays on this season. And we'll get a break in now, hear from him after this.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors.
The Pirates play here.
Time to play the game!
This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back into the show. It is time for our Monday chat with ECU baseball head coach Cliff Godwin. The Pirates coming off a 1-2 opening weekend, losing the first 2 games to Xavier, then bouncing back, winning the finale. And Coach, first off, appreciate your time. You'll be joining us a lot of these Mondays throughout the season. We appreciate that as always. And before we dive into maybe some of the specifics, let's just get your overall thoughts on the weekend, what you like, what you didn't like about your team's performance in opening weekend.
Well, thanks, Igo. Thanks for having me. Yes, we will be very, very consistent with our Monday morning meetings every Monday. So we're going to be together for, about 15, 16 more weeks, hopefully. So it'll be fun. I thought really, Norby not being sharp, I thought that put us on our heels, which nobody's perfect, as I told our team. And to Norby's credit, he gave us a chance to win when he wasn't sharp. And he didn't have great command of any of his pitches. And his stuff wasn't as sharp as it's been in the past. And, but he hung in there. And, we're only down 2-0. I thought, defensively, the first 2 games, we weren't very good. And we had to make some adjustments. And I thought Nick Parham, playing shortstop in Game 3 was a difference maker. Parham is coming back from the UCL brace, so he's cleared from protocol, but his arm strength just has not come back yet because I don't even know if he's 8 months out yet from surgery. So, but He played a tremendous shortstop, and we played really good defense, and it was the only game that we didn't have errors. We have a really good pitching staff, and we need to be able to play good defense, and we will. But with some guys being down, it made us have to move some pieces around. And, Seawall's the best third baseman in the entire country, but he also had been playing shortstop in the preseason, and we thought that would work out. And Burris at third. And unfortunately, we just did not execute defensively, and then I thought that just led into some extra runs, and then now you're pressing because you lost game one, and you're having to fight back, and we just didn't play like ourselves the first two games, and it was just good to see for Colby Weber to be tremendous in an 0-2 start for East Carolina as a freshman, and he was outstanding. Our defense was outstanding, and then we swung the bats a lot better in game three. So I was happy for that, and I thought Grady Linehan played great all weekend, and Burris and Jack Herring as well, and Irby had some good at-bats. So we'll continue to get better, which we want to be playing our best baseball at the end of the season, not the beginning. And obviously we were not playing our best brand of baseball this weekend.
Coach, going back to Norby, obviously, it felt like watching it, his changeup was maybe as good as we've ever seen, but his fastball slider wasn't there. So did you kind of get the same sense? And then maybe – to me, like once all those three pitches are there, it might make him even more dangerous. Is that maybe finding that balance early in the season going to be a little bit of an adjustment for him?
Well, he's definitely been working on his changeup hard, and I thought the last preseason weekend, his changeup really gave our hitters a fit because, normally a lot of stuff is to glove side from Norby, where he goes fastballs in or away to lefties, and then you got the slider cutter off the same plane. But, we've always said, hey, if he could get something going the other way. And his changeup, I did think was pretty good. I think he's got a good feel for it. For me, it was more of the look in his eye as I grabbed him and said, hey, man, when you're going good, dude, it's like an intense look in those eyes, and it's a competitive spirit, and it's, man, I'm going after you. And, man, I just didn't see that the first couple innings, and I went and grabbed him and said, hey, man, we need that from you. And that's what an ace does. Even when they don't have their best stuff, they keep going out there and giving their team a chance to win, and he did that.
You mentioned starting Colby Wallace shortstop the first two games, and that happened because you guys saw him in practice, obviously executing at a high level. So do you feel like that's something that you may go back to at some point? Do you probably roll with Parm or somebody else as shortstop, or is that just kind of a day-by-day situation this early in the season?
Well, Parm, he's earned the opportunity to play shortstop tomorrow night. So we're going to continue to run him out there as long as he feels good with his arm, because it makes us a lot better defensively everywhere else when we have somebody at shortstop that can play the position at a high level, which Parm can. You never want to, and this is coaching for these fans out there, you never want to move multiple pieces and make yourself weaker, but I thought Colby going to shortstop was our best opportunity because Colby's tough. And I knew that he wouldn't be great on the slow roller, but he would make the routine plays. Now, that backfired, and he didn't make the routine plays, but Colby Wallace is a great infielder. So, but tomorrow night, Colby's going to play third, Parm's going to play shortstop, and that solidified the left side of our infield really good in game three.
Cliff Godwin with us on this Monday morning recap and open the weekend. And we've talked about it, Coach, a lot over the years. You don't want to use injuries as an excuse. I got to ask, though, about Matt Lashley. We heard about him in the preseason. Just any update on him, because we know he's a guy who can play shortstop if he can get back healthy as well.
Yeah, he's just had this hamstring glute issue, and it happened late in the fall, and came back and kind of re-aggravated it in the preseason, and then we got him going pretty good, and he actually played full speed in our inner squad for 3 innings defense, and actually was diving, laying out. I mean, it looked like, oh, man, he's coming. And then he had another setback. So I don't know when he will be available. And, we want him to continue to get healthy, but we just can't put him back out there. And then all of a sudden he's going to miss the entire season. So we've got enough good players on our team that we can survive Lashley being out, Boucher being out, whoever it may be, Braxton Tramble. We're going to be fine. We just got to find the right pieces to put in each spot. And, looking back on game 2 of Saturday, it looked like we found them. So I'm excited about that.
And then I know you said Boucher got hurt right after pregame prayer or something. Was it just a freak deal? And I know we haven't asked you on the record about Trammell. Any update on him as well?
Yeah, Boucher and Colby Wallace, and I didn't see it, but I guess they were chest bumping, and Boo landed on Colby's foot, and it is not just a slight sprain. It is a very, very bad sprain. And so I can tell you this, our athletic trainer, Hunter Martin, of all the things he's really good at, he's got this protocol with sprained ankles that is really good. From what Boo looked like Friday night to yesterday, man, he's come a long ways. He's still got a long ways to go, but he's come a long ways. Braxton, we got second, third opinions. He's not going to have surgery, but you're talking about a 4-month timeline. So he's going to miss the entire season, which we felt pretty confidently about that the entire time, and with the shoulder injury he has. But of course, we feel for Braxton. I don't know why bad stuff happens to great people. He's one of the hardest workers. He's on our leadership team. He's still a huge piece of our team. And he's like an assistant coach in the dugout. And we're going to continue to lean on him for, having good conversations with some of these young players and some of the other guys to help us win baseball games.
Cliff Godwin with us on this Monday. And Coach, you mentioned the pitching. I thought on the mound you guys, stuff-wise, looked as good as I've seen maybe ever at ECU. Just I want to start with Van Kempen on Saturday starting-wise. And, again, pitch better than probably his line indicated. But in this early in the season, you want to be careful with the pitch count, obviously. What did you think of Gavin Van Kempen on Saturday?
I thought GVK was outstanding. I thought once he got in a groove a little bit, his off speed became sharper. And look, his line was really good. Those were 2 errors, so we got that switched. But he gave us an opportunity to win. His stuff's really good. I mean, to throw 4 innings and strike out 4 and not to give up any earned runs. I mean, you can't ask for a lot more than that opening weekend.
And then you kind of touched on it earlier, but Colby Weber, and we asked him after the game, like, do you think about going in 0-2 and you need to be the stopper? And he just said he kind of approached it like a normal start. And he didn't really seem phased out there, Coach, which sometimes with freshmen, you never know till they get out there, but he was pretty impressive, right?
Yeah, I thought Colby was outstanding. And, people probably don't understand it unless they've worn the purple and gold or they've played at a program where it matters. But you're 0-2 at home against Xavier, and Xavier, give them a ton of credit, man. They came in here and they beat our tails, and they were coached really well. But Colby did not back down from the moment. And, their big left-handed hitter, he went right after him, with heaters inside and was attacking him. And I felt very confidently when I saw that. I was like, hey, man, this guy's dialed in and he's competing and his stuff's really good. And I thought Grady Linehan was the same way. I mean, you got 2 freshmen out there playing at East Carolina when it's an older game in general. Thought those guys performed well, but their body language, the way they looked, they did not look like freshmen. And I thought Bach the same thing when he got his opportunity to DH. For you media people that just look at box scores, yeah, he was 0 for 3 with an RBI, but he smoked every ball that he hit. So that tells me that he's in a good spot. So excited about our entire team, but definitely some of those young guys getting opportunities and performing at a high level.
Going back to the pitching staff as well, Coach, Jenkins out of the bullpen, and he looked, phenomenal, especially those first couple innings with his stuff. And any other relievers, and I'll allow you to comment on Jenkins' performance as well, but any other relievers throughout the weekend also catch your eye with just how they performed, how they approached it?
I thought Gavin Marley was outstanding. I thought that Luke Payne was outstanding for 2 innings. We extended him too long just because that was the game that, we were losing, game 2. And, just trying to extend him a little bit too much, but I thought he was tremendous. Joe Webb was not sharp. He was trying to do too much, but I don't worry about that guy. I thought Ryan Towers was good his first inning. He, as just the baseball gods would have it, of course, it was like the longest half inning offensively probably of the entire weekend after he had a really good first inning. He's coming off the UCL brace surgery. And so he had to sit down, and he had, pitched 3 innings in inter squads before, but I don't know if he had that long of a half inning up to that point. And he moved around, played catch, the whole deal, but he just did not look as sharp the second inning. He'll continue to get better. And Thomas Paxton will be fine, and Frank will continue to get better. So I'm excited about our entire pitching staff. And Tolik's going to go tomorrow for 1 inning. He's going to open the game if he feels great today, which he's been feeling good. So we're excited about that. Still got Nick Moran, who will pitch tomorrow in some capacity. So we're continuing to get guys out there. And like I said, our goal is to play our best brand of baseball at the end of the season, not the beginning.
Sean Jenkins on the Friday game, obviously looked phenomenal, coach. And we saw the stuff last year at times, but man, it ticked up out of the bullpen. And is that kind of what you guys envisioned him for that role? And then how much of this will be week to week on, what team needs are? Because we know he can start as well, obviously.
Sean has worked his tail off. I mean, I think last year, just going through the ebbs and flows of a season in college baseball and being 17 years old for the most part, and having some success, but getting punched in the face a lot, and just having to, for us, since we weren't deep last year, we had to just continue to run them out there. And I don't think that's necessarily easy when you're 17 years old and you probably are not performing at your best, and you just keep getting your name called to go out there. But, he was awesome in the conference tournament championship game. And I was so proud of him. But, man, he's worked on his body. He's worked with Coach Knight. Jake Agnos, just being around and talking to him has helped tremendously. His mentality has continued to grow. I told him yesterday, I think Joe Webb has been the best thing that's ever happened to Sean Jenkins, because Sean sometimes can overcomplicate things, and Joe just gives him crap all the time, tells him he's soft, good stuff like that, good joking stuff, and they are just spend a lot of time together, and it's just awesome to see Sean's competitive spirit. He's got really good stuff, and man, he's going to continue to get better. But right now, he's going to stay in the bullpen because we need him and Joe to be in the bullpen to anchor that thing down.
Couple more things with Cliff Godwin. We'll get him out of here on this Monday. And Coach, top of the order, obviously, we focus on some of the new pieces, some of the things that maybe didn't go right, but I thought the top of the order was really phenomenal throughout the weekend. Obviously, Braden Burris, Jack Heron had great at-bats, made some great defensive plays as well, and then Austin Irby was very good as well. So just those guys kind of being who you expect them to be right out of the gate, that's got to make you feel pretty good as well.
Yeah, those 3 guys for sure can make us go. I thought also didn't want to put Grady up there in the top of the lineup just early on. Wanted him to kind of hang out in the weeds, those first couple of games. And, man, after those first couple of games, you're like, man, he's putting together some of the best at-bats on our team. So, threw him in a 3-hole in game 3. And, of course, he didn't miss a beat. But I think right now we've just got to find some ways to get some length in our offense, which we will, because we have super talented players that can do it. Coach Gotro is one of the best hitting coaches in the country. He'll get those guys going with Coach Pack. So I have no doubt their offense won't continue to lengthen, and I think we have a chance to be one of the best offenses that we've had here. So the one positive is, we had more freebies offensively than striking out, which is going to lend for success down the road. The one thing, we just want our guys to be a little bit more freer with less than 2, getting their best swings off. I thought at times we just were a little bit tentative, kind of in between our timing. So, but we'll get them going, and we'll be ready to go tomorrow against Campbell.
5-game week ahead, Coach, right out of the gate. So that, obviously that pitching depth will be given an opportunity to compete. So I know you take it 1 game at a time, but this is a week where you'll see a lot of guys get opportunities, and you'll want them to step up, make the most of it. So just talk about that this early in the season, being tested with 5 games in a short amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're a competitor, you like playing baseball. So the one guy I forgot to mention was Ethan Rose. I thought he did a great job, for his first appearance. I think he threw 4 pitches, got a double play ball and another ground ball, and a guy that's a different look. So he's another guy and then Charlie Hoagland didn't get an opportunity, but he'll be out there this week at some point in time. So another freshman, he's a left-hander. But I'm excited, man. Look, if you want to be the best, you got to go out there and play baseball. You got to win games. So I'm ready to get back on the field, to continue to increase our ability to play better baseball day in and day out.
He is head coach Cliff Godwin. Coach, we appreciate the time. We'll catch up with you on Mondays throughout the season, man. We'll see you back at the ballpark this week, but appreciate it as always.
Thank you, guys.
That is Cliff Godwin. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after this.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Get ready to board.
We're live with Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game. Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
Hoist the Colors here, third segment. Appreciate Coach Godwin's time. He'll join us a lot of these Mondays. If you missed any of it, check it out. Archived on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also on YouTube and Facebook as well. We've talked a lot of ECU baseball. We'll preview the Campbell game more tomorrow on the show. Talk about, can the Pirates get over the hump and take down the Camels for the first time since 2022? We'll break that down more on tomorrow's show. It was a big weekend for ECU basketball. The women win at Temple. The men win at Rice. 2 road victories for each hoops programs. We'll talk about kind of the meaning of each. We'll start with the men. They go on the road. We talked about it. First, we said early last week that ECU had to beat UTSA or the season was over. Mission accomplished. Then they had to go on the road to Rice, which had really handled ECU in Minji's Coliseum a few weeks ago in Greenville. And they had to try to find a way to win that game. Even with the victory, they're still on the outside looking in for the conference tournament, which we'll get into here in a minute. But before we do that, just the overall particulars of the game, if you compare the shooting of the first game to the second game, between Rice and ECU, basically polar opposites. East Carolina, I believe, was just 4 of 19 from 3 in the first game, and they didn't hit many of those threes until very late in the contest. In the game at Rice, they shot the ball extremely well from behind the arc. Still not a high volume, as I believe it was just 8 of 17 from deep, but they were efficient. They made their shots count from the outside. They finished the game shooting 47% from three-point range, 54% from the field. Rice, conversely, goes 9 of 34, 26% from three-point range. And ECU really dominated the game. From the middle of the first half onward, they get 4 Pirates in double figures. Jordan Riley with 22. Dimitri Gardner, who continues to ascend his play with 21. Giovanni Imajuru with 17 and 7. And Corey Calker hit some big threes, especially one late, as ECU pulled away with 14 points. So Philip Hilkinen producing today's show. ECU has quietly won 3 consecutive games on the road in conference play. North Texas, FAU, Rice. None of these teams are great, but still winning on the road is never easy in college hoops. And it appears the Pirates have kept their hopes alive for the conference tournament as a result of their road success.
Yeah, and look, I mean, that's going to keep the young men in this locker room invested. You know, I saw a tweet today that there were a couple teams in another conference that have officially been eliminated. Here we are 3 weeks left in the regular season, and you are eliminated from the conference tournament, which means you cannot play for an NCAA championship, which, you know, the old school college basketball rules was everybody made the conference tournament with the exception of the Ivy League. And if you won, you put together 3, 4, 5 days, whatever it took, you got a chance to go to the big dance. So I think the wind gets taken out of the sails when that happens. And right now they were on the cusp of that, and they've played their way into a situation where they're not even really on the cusp of being eliminated right now. They're on the cusp of not solidifying, but on the cusp of being on the inside of these things. And look, man, you know, Wichita, not great. Charlotte, pretty good, but they just lost to the Meeps. And you still got to go to the Meeps. You still got to go to UAB. Like, there's winnable games. Now, the interesting thing is East Carolina, too, they're in a good spot. They're 2 wins behind North Texas. North Texas has already played one more league game than East Carolina. They're sitting at 6-7. East Carolina at 4-8. So you do have to catch them, but East Carolina's already had both of their byes. They do play every single midweek and weekend for the rest of the season. The 2 teams sitting just ahead of them do have one less game. So at the end of the day, your opportunity to catch them, you're really only a game back right now as long as you win that game in hand.
And ECU has the tiebreaker over North Texas. They beat them head-to-head, and they have the tiebreaker over FAU, who they beat head-to-head. FAU has lost 6 games in a row. ECU broke them, it appears, as they've gone from 6-1 in the league to 6-7. Rice, we'll have to double-check the tiebreaker because Rice and ECU split, so we'll have to run through the scenarios there. But how it sits right now is ECU is 4-8 in the league. They are in 12th place. Rice is in 11th at 5-8, and then North Texas and FAU are tied for 9th at 6-7. And again, ECU has the tiebreaker over both North Texas and FAU, and the top 10 teams make the league tournament. Now, if you were setting the odds in Vegas, you would still have ECU a long shot to make it, because even though, the league this year, Philip, is just, I'm just going to say it. The league is as unimpressive as it's ever been to me. I know Tulsa's had a good year, but even they have lost 3 in a row. Like, watching South Florida, I don't even think they're that good. They're leading the league right now. Memphis is way down. There's definitely not a dominant team in the league. Every game feels winnable. If ECU had a solid team this year, you would feel like you could actually win the conference tournament if you make it. I don't think this particular team can, but you still want to get in. But like, looking at the last half of the schedule, you got 6 games left. Wichita State, you're probably a slight home underdog. At Charlotte, even with the loss to UTSA, you're going to be an underdog. At UTSA, I think ECU will be favored. Memphis at home, you're probably going to be an underdog. Tulsa at home, you're going to be an underdog. At UAB, you're going to be an underdog. So 5 of the last 6, you're probably going to be a dog in. And you really need to win, probably 3-3 to give yourself a realistic shot to make the tournament? I mean, is that because that would put you at 7-11. Rice at 5-8, FAU at 6-7, North Texas at 6-7. You have to jump 2 of those teams. So
Yeah,
I think you at least got to go 3-3.
3-3. Yeah, and the interesting thing is that who's everybody else playing on everybody else's schedule in front of me. One of them, and I want to say it's North Texas. It's pretty tough. I think they've already no, they still have UTSA. I think. Yeah.
So North Texas has Tulane at home, FAU at home, at Charlotte, at UAB, and then Rice at home. So
that's a lot of pick'ems, man. Those are a lot of pick'em games. That's the tough thing.
Yeah.
It comes down to, I think you want Rice. Maybe you want North Texas to win because they've got FAU and Rice. If Rice can lose out and FAU can stumble, you feel decent.
So here's the ultimate test. FAU has lost 6 in a row. They're at UTSA on Wednesday. Now, they're going to be favored. If they lose that game, then they might be in for just a complete collapse. They go to UTSA, to North Texas, and the Texas Wing, host Temple, host Charlotte, at Wichita State. So they have a pretty tough finish after UTSA. And then you got Rice, which finishes at Tulane, South Florida, at Temple, at North Texas, and then UTSA at home.
Tough thing is 2 of these teams, all those teams still have to play UTSA.
So does ECU.
Yeah, that's true. So let's just hypothetically say they all win. Now you're looking at you're still in the same boat, right? You got to catch them. The tough thing is, what game do we consider our game in hand? If we're all winning the UTSA game, that can't be the game in hand. Let's just go hypothetical and let's just call Wichita the game in hand. That's the next game. So you win that. Okay, so now you're a game out behind the FAU in North Texas. You've got the tiebreaker. One of them is going to beat each other, so now you're still a game behind that team regardless, because they're at least picking up one more win when they play each other. So now you've got to go. But here's the thing. If you catch Rice, who does have one less win than those guys, if you win your game in hand against Rice, now you're tied. The question is, we don't really know the in-depth tiebreakers. So now all you got to do is theoretically win one more and hope those other 2 teams lose out. But that's a lot of ifs. You can win at UAB, I think. I feel like it's winnable.
I mean, I think you could beat Memphis at home. I know Memphis look, they're always going to be talented, but what does Memphis have to play for? I mean, is Penny Hardaway, there's no shot he comes back, right? And so I feel like they're just going to save it for the conference tournament unless they're playing for a conference tournament slot. I mean, they're 7-5 right now in the league. They're 2-8.
They can still play but they're still playing for second place. You got to remember those top 2 teams get such an advantage.
Gosh.
Look, South Florida's 10-3. That's the 1 seed. You've got a 3-way tie for second right now at 8-5, and they're part of that 3-way tie, right?
You got 5 teams with 5 losses.
Okay,
Tulsa,
5 teams with
Wichita
5
State,
losses.
Temple, Charlotte, Memphis.
So they're fighting to have that bye to the semifinals, because is Penny back next year? Probably not, but if he wins the conference tournament and finds himself in a Sweet 16 all of a sudden, if say they do that and they end up at 13, because that's what they would be. They say they take on a week 4. I'm trying to think who's on the 4 line. They ain't beating Texas Tech. I can tell you that. They're 4 right now. I don't know if you get a 4 and then you get the 12 to beat the 5. You end up beating the 12, and you're in the Sweet 16. He saves his job. So this is a long shot, but I'm saying there is a path there, and it starts with being the number 2 seed, which they control their own destiny to be.
So ECU, I think, got to go at least 3-3. Probably as we talk through this, you really need this Wichita State win on Wednesday night. I mean, this is a massive game, and it's big for Wichita State too. Which, for the reasons we mentioned, they're tied for second right now with Tulsa at 8-5. They are just 4-4 on the road this year, so we'll see how they perform. They've struggled to Minji's the last few years, so huge game for ECU at the conference tournament. They'll try to win their 3rd in a row in the league when they host Wichita State on Wednesday. I tell you what, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll talk about women's hoops to round out the show, because they win again. They're one win away from another 20-win season under Kim McNeil, and then one game stands between them and the Rice game that's coming Saturday in terms of that could be a massive showdown. So we'll talk about that as well. This is Hoist the Colors on a Monday.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today.
Loyal and bold, we're the purple and golds.
Yo ho ho!
And we're back to Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Monday, wrapping up the show. Final segment here. Philip Vilken producing, intern Isaiah hanging out. We talked men's basketball in our last segment. We've got women's basketball talk now. ECU women win again at Temple. Another tough win on the road. They are now 19-7 overall, 11-2 in the conference. And this week they host FAU on Tuesday night. FAU is 12-13 overall, 6-7, middle of the pack team in the league. If the Pirates, this is a dangerous spot because this is a look-ahead spot. They can't look ahead. We can look ahead. We're in the media. But we saw earlier this year they got burned when they did this against Wichita State and lost at home to them. But if they can take care of business against FAU, and even if they lose, it would still set up a big game. But Rice comes to town Saturday as the unbeaten team in the American, 12-0. They are 22-3 overall. They have won 17 in a row in the league. They just beat that Wichita State team 80-42 over the weekend. So they're legit. And Kim McNeil's team's playing well. I hope the Pirates take care of business and can get a good crowd in for that Saturday game, Philip, because even if they don't win, let's say they take care of business against FAU and they lose to Rice, or even if they win, they're still in position right now to be a top 2 seed, which is the ultimate goal given the status of the conference tournament. But this could be a massive and a fun game inside Minges on Saturday between ECU and Rice.
Yeah, you want to keep it close. Look, ideally you want to win, right? But you're not going to win nor lose the conference championship on Saturday. But what you do want to do is not get embarrassed. You don't want to go into that conference championship game, if you would get another date with Rice, feeling like, man, our one opportunity that we had against these girls the first time, they just handed it to us, right? You want to go in feeling like, you belong on the same court. And I think they do. They really do. They've played well. Didn't think they played their best Saturday, but good teams go on the road and win games when they don't play well. And when the other team's making a late game push, you fin them off. And that's what they did Saturday. And I'm hoping the game Saturday was a little closer than it should have been. And maybe that'll be, I don't think they really need a wake-up call, but it'll still, kind of be looming in the back of their mind just enough to keep them from looking past FAU, who on paper is about the same thing as Temple. They can jump up and bite you if you're not careful. So that would, hopefully not have them looking ahead to Saturday, because Saturday is going to be a big one.
So look, if you're not going to Durham for the baseball game, get out to Minges, support the ladies. Obviously support them Tuesday night as well. That'll be a big week at home for the ladies as they make a run at the conference tournament, top 2 seed, and hopefully a championship in the regular season as well. All right, final question. We got to get out of here. But Kenny asking, did I see that WITN is covering the Campbell ECU baseball game? Yes, WITN, in a partnership with Campbell, is covering both Campbell games this year between baseball and then softball. You can view it on WITN 7.2, so the All-Fair channel, just FYI. So go to their website for more on that. We'll discuss that game more tomorrow. Thanks to Philip. Thanks to Cliff Godwin. We'll see you 12 noon on Tuesday on Hoist the Colors.